All right. Well, hello. It's been a minute since I've recorded a update. Been very, very busy with agentic coding and trying to get things organized and learn what some of our limitations are for developing product. What's capable um, to speed up some of the development process while not losing that human touch. So since working or since my last session, I've been working a lot um, with Sapling, and so Sapling, for quick refresher, it's just an online fundraising tool that lets you give on a grid-based system. So grid, numbers 1 through 50, 1 through 100, and so on. And so, you know, what I that was an original Vibe session where I took back last year. I took all of these pages and, like, for instance, remove prize. It's a very basic um, PHP page, but it was old code, and this is like procedural code. I wasn't an object oriented programmer when I built this, and I just built it on a weekend or a couple weekends or whatever. And so I used ChatGPT to modernize all the code so it would run on a more modern Apache server. And then what I wanted to do was actually just turn it over to Claude. And you can see here I'm using Claude right now. I actually just finished the task. Interestingly, if I go to Anthropic, we're actually just coming back from Anthropic having a major outage. Be interested to see what that's all about. I mean, they just secured a ton of money, but hopefully they can put it into more servers. But anyway, what I wanted to do is say, listen, Claude, read this code, and I want you to turn Sapling into more of a video-based video feed system. So today, if I go to if I go to Sapling today, it looks like this. So I've got some video up. I can play a video. I can, I have photos for a fundraiser, and then it's got some basic text here, and then the grid. So you can give on the grid. Great. And it uses Stripe as a backend. But what I thought was like, it's not that interesting. I mean, it's okay. It looks a heck of a lot better on a mobile device because it's more vertical and everything. But then I thought, well, what if I could get it to do something where it's all video? So I recorded a video, pretty cool, huh? And then what I said was, okay, okay, Claude, rewrite the whole application and do that. Do the, do that in video only. So it feels like an Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And it said, okay. And it did some amazing stuff. It actually started completely over. It used React, Supabase. I don't know what, it was like building all kinds of stuff, and it was just churning away, burning through tokens. And it got half of the way there. And then I started to go into this doom loop. Now, Claude, just like last week, if you go back to their status page, I saw this, but I didn't realize that it wasn't just me, but this model output quality over the last week or so, they've had a decrease in the quality of Opus. And man, I'll tell you what, it was almost like I hit a wall last week where it was like returning it wouldn't even update code. It would say, oh, I did this. And you're like, no, you didn't. And then it said, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't. And then it would say it would do it, and then it didn't do it. And I'm like, what is going on? So it turns out it's actually, it was actually a known issue that they had. So we're definitely all on the bleeding edge of AI. But what I decided when I got to that point with that platform, I just said, forget it. We're going to start over. And I think that's a lesson in Claude is that, and OpenAI and Gemini, is that you sometimes have to get to a point where you're like, forget it, I'm starting over. And then you go, hopefully you've been using Git commits to track that, or branches, and you can just throw it back, which is what I did, and say, listen, we're starting over. So now what I decided to do was say, okay, I'm going to instead of giving Claude really as much good prompts as I could. I don't know if I still have it, but yeah, I had agents. I was creating MySQL agents, PHP, UI, UX, debugging, QA. I mean, I was going through and refining that. I was using Claude, MD files. I don't even know if I have one right now. I'd be weird if I didn't, but anyway, I had all these things going, and I just, I was trying to do the right process, and I think it was just too much of a lift. You really, the best type of programming using AI is just to work alongside it. And so that's what I came back to do. This actually, I think Monday, today's Wednesday. So yeah, Monday, I started working alongside Claude, knowing I can say, listen, I know PHP, I know MySQL, I don't know Supabase, I don't understand Docker that well. I had another project that's taking a lot of our production data, anonymizing it, uploading it to Pinecone, which is a vector database, and that's actually running at the same time here. So now, I've got a, let's see. I go to my Docker desktop. I have Docker containers running that are actually testing a new implementation of an API that takes a CSV file of our production data and this is the important bit, that has been anonymized. There's no real names. There's no names. There's no organization names. There's no phone numbers, addresses, or email. Or obviously we don't store credit cards, so we couldn't get it if we wanted to, but it's just sanitized data that we are giving to Pinecone, and then we're using OpenAI's embedding models to embed the stuff. But we're trying to chew through millions of records. And so, for instance, at Pinecone, I have, you can see I'm adding right now. I'm at 1.2 million, and this was just 2025 data. Now we're actually trying to go back and we're going to go back to 2024, but it is adding records quite well now. But I needed an application that could take a CSV file, break it down line by line, vectorize, embed one piece of data. So for instance, do I even have it open? I think I do. Yeah, so this is a file that has, 100,000 records in it. And you'll notice we have city and state, that's it. We have dates, we have bidder record, and then we have this really long text. So let's see if I can find it. A bidder with number 220 from Vacayville was not checked in for event 17/4/29, which again, that doesn't mean anything to anything. But now if they had won something, then it would have a different statement. So we take this statement, run it through the embedding model, add it to Pinecone so that we can do queries against it. Then we also keep the metadata so that we can run specific queries, like, what's one of the more populated cities that have done events? So, or what's one of the more popular, not populated. And so, we're just adding millions of records to this vectorized database so that I don't have ChatGPT open, but I do want it for this. So I'm bouncing around a little bit. I started out with Sapling, now I'm talking about Pinecone, but we added a GPT. You can get this GPT anywhere. I didn't even think about what I just said. You can't get it anywhere. You got to go to GPTs in ChatGPT. Literally, it's the only place you can go. So it's the exact opposite of what I just said. So anyway, you can add ClickBid's search. And so what we do is we actually use it. This is a great tool for asking specific questions. What are some recent auction items that had a lot of bids? So if I'm trying to find some ideas, I need some thought starters. And so it's going to say, we're going to send out to what we have, our Pinecone database. And it's actually searching our Pinecone database right now for actual auction items that would fit this question. And we use AI to reorganize that question into something that makes sense to Pinecone. And then we also go out and we ask just the general language model. And if we don't have it, then we still want you to get some relevant information. So for instance, bidding activities. So Gallery Bay Resort and Spa Antigua, 4-in-1 arcade tables. So this gives me some ideas, like Gift cards are great. So that's a gift card because it's a group class, spa gift card, spa. Let's see. Now this is an arcade table. That's actually pretty cool. Like I can do a 4-in-1, like euchre, poker, whatever. And then bougie fun. This to me says it's probably a customized basket that somebody put together. And those are really popular. So, you can ask our data set and you can blend that with OpenAI's large language model. So doing some really cool things there. And of course, we're not giving away any information. You couldn't even ask this to say, hey, I need a list of all of ClickBit's customers, or I need to know which customers are using ClickBit in here. And it wouldn't be able to get that data from our system because we don't save those pieces of information. Or get me some phone numbers. The only phone numbers that it would get would have to come from the ChatGPT large language model side, not ours. And they would almost definitely be made up and hallucinated. So anyway, pretty excited about this. This is going to be really fun and hopefully give our nonprofits some ideas. The other thing that it does is it has the ability we're actually telling this GPT to also use our support site. Cool. How would I add an item in ClickBit? All right, so I'm asking a more customer service-based question. And so now it's going to, here's a step-by-step. So go to the admin dashboard, items, manage items, add item type, and so on. And it basically, you have another method, mass import. That's great. Items, go to the mass import, download, use the template. And method 3, add images to your auction items. That's not really method 3, but it is technically, yes, you can add up to 10 images, mass upload, and so on. And then it really lays it out. So this GPT is really helpful to have, for nonprofits to use if they can't get a hold of somebody at ClickBit. We operate from 9 to 5 during business hours. We have a great knowledge base. Obviously, all of this data came from you can see here, it came from our support database. And so, but if it's 9 o'clock at night and you just need to know something like, I know I'm probably not going to get somebody at ClickBit to answer the phone right now unless it's my event night, which then you would, but can you help me? And this stuff can get you unstuck. And so that's really what's good about AI right now, is that it really does help people. It's a support tool. Somebody asked me, what is AI, Matt? And I said, well, AI is, this was somebody who doesn't really understand a lot of technology. So I'm thinking, oh boy. I said, okay. I said, imagine, you're working on a project and there's somebody sitting next to you who's also working on the same project. It's really nice and convenient because when you get stuck, you can ask that person a question. And I should say it's convenient for you, probably not convenient to that person because they were busy doing something and now you're distracting them. But now we work in a remote world and I don't have somebody sitting next to me. In fact, I'm literally recording this in a soundproof booth at a co-working site. And so I don't have the luxury of saying, hey, I need to know how to, access the, Pinecone API to upsert a record into a Pinecone index. Well, if I had somebody sitting there, that would be fantastic. Now, that's what AI is it can literally be a person who understands the Pinecone API, has read all the documentation, knows exactly how the API works, isn't perfect, but it's pretty doggone close, and it's sitting right next to me. I mean, I can even have a monitor just sitting off to the side that just runs Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity. So I think, the interesting thing is that it's not always right either. We give AI and driverless cars and things like that. We give them a hard time because we expect perfection. I mean, why shouldn't we? These are robots. This is software. Software is binary. It's either yes or no. How do you, how can't you expect perfection? But really, AI only has to be better than the smartest person. And the smartest person is not 100% right all the time. Case in point. So I downloaded, let's see, do I have it? Yeah, let me just pop open. So I downloaded screenshots of the sapling admin. And so, here's the sapling admin today. It's, let's see if I can, let's open it with preview. And hopefully I don't crash my computer, but it's, I didn't use a framework to build it. I just kind of threw it together and I did my best to make it, clean and simple. And then I have this new feature called videos where I'm allowing you to record your own videos and upload them. Well, I said, let me see if I can, nope. And so that page looks like this. And so if I clicked on videos, it would let me upload 2 videos. You can see me giving the thumbs up. And then this is some Google created video that I did. And it's clean. I mean, AI built this page, upload video, record video. I gave it a bunch of instructions. But if I'm a user, the most important part of this platform is the ability to upload a video. Whether I'm just going to record it from my phone standing right here to help and add to my feed, or I'm going to pre-produce something maybe in Google VO or whatever and upload it. But in the current platform, I have to go to this page here, and then I have to go to click on videos and go here. And I thought, that's stupid. So I went to the four models that I wanted to get an example. I wanted to get a new design. So I gave them both of these files, this one and the other one. And I came up with the same prompt. I said, I want you to take this, design it so it's mobile first, but I need people to be able that when they log into their admin, the first thing they can do is just add a new video to their feed. That's it. And so I gave it to ChatGPT, Lovable, Claude, and Gemini. And let's see if I can find it. If I still have, I don't have, let's go here to Gemini, see if I can find it. It was not great. Let's see, I need to modify this. Yeah, here we go. This is what it came up with. And at first I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But okay, so it threw my videos down here, add to your site. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Then it put record new video button. I'm like, oh, that's good. But then I'm like, wait a second. All my stats are right here. So it just dropped it right on top of that. And I'm like, this is not good. So I was like, well, that's a strikeout. So then I went to ChatGPT and, I was doing this redesign admin interface. So then I basically said, okay, ChatGPT, what do you got? And I did research, which was a mistake because it gave me a unbelievably well-written white paper on how to do it. And I'm like, oh, brother, that's not what I wanted. Then I went, okay, so I'm like, oh, brother. So then I went to Claude and I got this. So, it didn't use any of my colors, but I was like, oh, that's not bad. So this is a nice clean layout. And if I shrink it down, it makes it responsive. Now these icons, I don't know if that's just because Claude doesn't allow you to embed other libraries within its desktop app. I don't know, but that's pretty cool. I like this. This is good. Then I went to Lovable. Do I still have Lovable open? I don't. Let's go. Lovable had the best outcome, but here's the thing that I found interesting is that Lovable, it's taken a while, man. Lovable had a very similar I should probably just say it had a very similar layout to Claude. Interesting thing is, I believe Lovable uses Claude, so it's not surprising. But what it did do was, and I'll forget it. Let's just not load it now. Was that when it loaded, I said, I don't want, this is the script. I use that for my recording. I just don't want it to be, I want it to be vanilla. I want it to be vanilla PHP, vanilla CSS, and Lovable doesn't do it. They use Tailwind, React, and I don't remember what the JavaScript library was that they used, but, React. So that's it. They won't give you any vanilla HTML, but Claude did, and I was really happy about that because I actually had to ask us, hey, can you give me an HTML version? And so if I go here, I can just see for sure, yes, it's all HTML. Now, Granted, this is not great because it put all of this, I don't know how many lines this is, a couple hundred lines of CSS, which I would have rather seen in an actual style sheet. I'm not going to be too picky because I can just take this page, and that's what I did. I dropped it into, let's see, go back to Visual Studio. I dropped it in and I said, all right, here's this sapling admin redesign page, and I want you to use this. So what I'm doing is I'm sitting next to Claude saying, okay, it has a really great planning mode. So if I go here, hit space or shift tab until I get the plan mode, I can tell it what I want and it'll think through it and give me a to-do list. And so I can save that to-do list to a README file or a markdown file, or I can, ask questions, or I can go through and in some cases I'll look at the to-do and I'll just actually just go into the file itself and do it. But in this case, I said, okay, take the sapling admin redesign, and I want you to apply its look and feel to the current admin landing page. And then let's see what that looks like, and we'll go from there. So now I'm starting to go back into some of that. I'm just letting Claude handle it because I did it. You can see here it added a bunch of code, got rid of a bunch of code, which makes me really nervous because I did say in my description, my prompt, I said, do not rewrite PHP code. Just swap out the design as much as possible while keeping the video at the top. So there's a couple things that I want to make sure I mention here. Is I used, again, Claude, ChatGPT, Lovable, and Gemini. Gemini and ChatGPT were just complete not good. They weren't terrible, but they weren't good. Now, why did I go through that whole example? The reason is because all the AI models have their own specialty, but in my opinion, all of the models are incredibly smart. The problem is the prompting. So how do we give it the right information so that it can interpret from that the response that I'm looking for? That's really what it boils down to. I mean, AI is prediction model. I mean, you give it a statement and it spits back what it thinks is the most logical predicted outcome of what you just gave it. So the more detailed you are, the more specific, clear you are, the better you build those prompts, the better responses you're going to get. And there are a million videos out on the internet now about is heavy prompting, too much prompting? Is the context window getting, confusing the models? Should you clear your context window every time you get about 25% full? Prompting is only effective when it comes with supporting material. And I mean, there's just 100 different ways to learn how to better prompt. And it feels like every other week we're getting new advice and new guidance. But even with those 4 models that I prompted, I'm still getting answers, and I'm getting things that help me, because AI, part of the bubble that we're seeing is that AI is people think that AI can replace the work that I'm doing. And they're worried that it will. So I'm probably a mid-level developer. I wouldn't call myself an expert level by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not a junior developer, but AI is not going to replace me at at that mid-level. What it makes me is an expert level developer because I can ask it questions that I wouldn't have to wait for somebody to test and find an error with. I could have it test for me. I can ask it, hey, I'm struggling with this code, and so on. And it'll give me an updated, look and feel, or hey, this is what's happening, and I can fix it and move faster. But it's not replacing me. But still, AI is giving me great material, and it is better than if I were sitting next to somebody and said, hey, what do you think? I'm stuck here. What do you think? Like, AI is going to give me a better response than the person sitting next to me. So I do think AI has an incredible value in that capacity. So having said all that, I put it to work. And so now we're at that point in my Claude coding. Kind of what I've been dealing with lately is, okay, well, how did it do? And what happens with where I go next? So I go here, and this is the new admin page that I haven't seen it. So, okay, let me just, all right. So the first stuff I'm seeing is that I don't like is there's a 3 column. So I need to go 2 column. I don't hate, I like this. record. Now, I don't know what it does if it actually, yeah, see, it takes me to the video page. So, and I wasn't very clear, so I didn't tell it what I wanted. Upload a video probably takes me, yep. Okay. Um, so anyway, but I can fix that. So what I want to do is, I want the snapshot to stay where it is. I want payments to be 2-column. And then I want this QR code and the last 5 squares taken. This isn't bad. This isn't bad. So, and I mean, I don't know where the navigation went. Put in this not sapling logo. So, okay. So where would I go from here? And this is where I worry sometimes that I will just fall into the lazier approach where I'll say, okay, I'll come back to Claude and I say, looks good, as if I'm talking to a person, but however, there's missing menu and what else? I only want 2 columns under the recording container. And then the recording container buttons, didn't spell buttons right, that's okay, need to emulate what their matching buttons do on the videos.php page. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm adding a list of things that I want Claude to do. Claude will happily tear into those things. However, it is almost certain to not get that right. So instead, what I want to do is say, okay, well, a couple options. I can take the new index page that it modified and start looking through it and figuring out what in the heck happened to my menu and say, man, you torched it. And that's not it. Let's see, is it even, okay, choose your donation. Oh, this is the wrong page. Okay. I'm like, what? All right. So if I go back to index, here we go. So I'm looking for menu. Now I may have had this as an include. I know, I don't remember. Yeah. So upload, video capture, notice. Okay. Sapling it. Yeah. Well, it's not there. So there's no menu. So I got to figure out what the crunk did you guys do with my menu? So I got to add that back. But what I should probably do is just say, hey, can you start by adding the menu back? And hey, as a suggestion, you should probably put it in the header content block. So like right after the logo, just do like a div, menu, class. Let's just do menu, components, dash. And then add the div. And then I could just go in and say, hey, listen, in the new menu, oh, look at you. Kind of like that. Music tab. Okay, so it did it. I don't know if that might have been like, I think that might be my Amazon Q running. I got a lot of AIs. Let me just save that. You know what? Let's just see. What did it look like? Did it dump it in a horrible way? Yeah. So now I need to fix that. But anyway, so I'm just going to undo it and I'm going to tell Claude I need some help. Can you add this in? So instead of asking for all of these things, so let's come down here and I'll delete it. Now, I'll probably even get rid of well, I don't know. Maybe I need to leave it in the menu component. Can you add that back in? Container. See, I'm going to leave it spelled wrong. Div with class. Put a colon. Come on. Menu components. If you want to use it. Now, the bad thing. Okay, so I'm just going to hit go. Because this is just for. And most of the time will just use it. And it may jumped one away, but hopefully it's running. So anyway, so that's kind of where we are today. Again, I just wanted to kind of jump in, throw in a video here, and oh, there's my prompt. It brought it back. So, you know, I've evolved from turning it loose on its own project. In my opinion, that is a huge mistake. The AI is not even, I mean, and I didn't just throw, really simple, like I need to modify sapling so it's cooler. I went through and I used AI to help me build better prompts. I used, um, screenshots, drawings, and it's still, what happens is that, especially when you're not familiar with the code base, I'm not a good React programmer, and it was using TypeScript, and I don't know TypeScript. I can, slug my way through it, but it was just, you're trusting the AI to build this stuff and it's not doing a good job. Or, a seasoned programmer would look at it and say, yeah, let's just, yes. Oh, and I had set it up for planning. So it built the plan. This is good. It built the plan. I could have stopped it at that point and just did it myself, or I could have taken and said, hey, plan, give me step by step on how I'm going to fix it, and I'll do it myself. So then you find your own mistakes, hopefully, and you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting your talent mixed with the talent of the AI to prompt you and get you moving a little bit better. So hopefully, you get a really good outcome. But the goal is, again, to move, just move faster. You know, I can even have it look at the logs if I want to. Hey, can you take a look at my server logs? That's something I hate doing, like tail, var, ww, blah, 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 or var log, Apache 2. I can have it do it, and it'll just keep track and finding things and reading them and giving me insights. So anyway, again, now I'm back from the world of just turning AI loose to, nope, now we're going to sit with it and really work as a pair programmer. So, all right, hopefully that's helpful. Just like to put this stuff out there.